The Hobbit. I have very controversial opinions, so if you loved The Hobbit to death, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because I loved the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's one of my favorite fantasy series, but The Hobbit, the prequel to Frodo's adventures, where Bilbo takes on this adventure and goes off to like a mountain to find some treasure, I guess. It was still Tolkien, and I enjoyed it still. I can't. Let's just break it down, shall we? I'm disappointed, kind of, sort of. Plot-wise, we have a dwarf treasure that has been taken over by Smaug, who is a dragon. He sits upon this treasure in the Lonely Mountain, so they go on this quest through the Misty Mountains and Mirkwood to basically get this treasure back. I like a good quest plotline. I knew the story, obviously. I watched the movies several times. I still prefer the Lord of the Rings movies to the Hobbit movies, of course, but I know it's not fair to compare the two stories because one is 3 books and this is just 1 book, one very thin book, but the plot just didn't seem elaborate enough to keep me engaged. We just followed that crew. A lot of dwarves, Bilbo, and Gandalf just takes off in the middle of somewhere, and I don't know, the stakes didn't feel as high as I hoped they would be. It's just a futile mission. They're not saving Middle-earth, they're not... I don't know, I guess I was just starstruck by the original trilogy that I can't feel satisfied with this. I know it's just 1 book. I'm trying to defend it against myself, but I just didn't enjoy it as much. I didn't feel engaged in the story. That's a personal thing. Okay, characters are another problem of mine because I love Gandalf and he is just a cameo in this book, I feel like. I remembered him being more prominent in this, how he notices the way the ring changes Frodo, I mean Bilbo, and his concerns. I feel like they even portrayed it better in the movies than the book, which rarely happens. I don't know, maybe I should just rewatch the movies and see if I remember it correctly, but I would have liked to see more of Gandalf. And Bilbo, although he is mostly the POV that we follow, we don't get much of his emotions and character. The only thing is his adventurous and the Hobbit side is always clashing. He's like, this is too big of an adventure for me, but then he wants to go do these crazy stuff, which is fine, but I would have liked to get to know Bilbo more. Smaug, I don't have a problem with him. He's a dragon. He's cool. Benedict Cumberbatch voiced him in the movies, and I love him in the movies. And here, I'm not opposed to it as either. I think he's a good villain, not as big as Sauron, obviously, but for the sake of the story, I think he was a good villain. And the dwarves, since there are 13 of them, I just didn't care much about any of them. Even Thorin, I feel like we should have gotten more insight into when toward the end of the quest, when his morality is sort of concerning. This might be a spoiler. Okay, a quick spoiler, probable spoiler. I know probably all of you know the story by now, but spoiler about Thorin's role towards the end, when the idea of having all the treasure to himself kind of corrupts his mind. I remember feeling very on edge watching the movies, but I feel like that inner turmoil was not depicted well enough in the book, and that part just bored me. Okay, no spoiler now. Also, I would have liked more friendship in this. Okay, the dwarves and Bilbo get along, but the original trilogy gave us so many great friendships, and I just loved watching them grow, watching them fight, watching them stick out for another. This one just didn't give it to me. The language. Okay, the Tolkien-esque fairy tale telling was there, but I could not fathom how dull the action scenes were written. It's almost like there's a battle, there's like an ambush, and Tolkien just breezes through it as if he is describing a scenery. I know this is his style, but I don't remember this being the case so much so in the original trilogy. I just got kind of bored because you need to stay so focused to even notice that there's something going on. I feel like he did not get that excitement through his writing, and since he's a legendary author, I would have expected that. I know his skill, I know his prowess, but this book did not reflect the best of him, I feel. From now on, spoilers. I'm gonna just breeze through it. The battle is an afterthought. We build up to it when they get to the mountain and the human armies and the elvish armies are there, and the dwarves are like, no, we're not gonna give you our treasure. The battle literally finishes in 10 pages, and I can't. It's just, it needs to be longer, okay? We walked and breezed through these scenic routes. We got to the treasure, and there is no, there starts a battle, and then Bilbo is knocked out, and then he wakes up and the battle ended? What? What? It was just not satisfactory to read about. The thing I like is that there are casualties, because it's a battle, and it's not like, oh, the whole crew survived, yay! No, it's not like that, and I really enjoyed that part. The dragon dies too easily. It's just one, okay, you know his weak spot, but you need to, I don't know, try harder to reveal that weak spot so you can shoot an arrow in it. I don't know, it could have been a more glorious death. I love Smaug. He deserved that. So, about the battle scenes, we are told about how it went down. He literally goes, after the battle, such and such happened, but let me tell you about the battle. Here's what happened. And after that, I'm just like, okay, we're just gonna tie into this ending. Why am I even reading about this? In so many ways, this narrative was unsatisfactory for me. I would have hoped to love this as much as I love the trilogy, but I guess being a prelude to the original, I shouldn't have expected that much. My expectations were high going into it. This is the first time I'm reading through the book. I read the original trilogy 2 times over. I watched all the movies, but I hadn't read this, and I don't think I'm gonna read it again, but I feel like it was an essential to get to know the world a little bit more, and I'll just continue on with my reread of The Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion and all of the books of Tolkien, basically. But let me know your thoughts on The Hobbit. This might turn into a discussion, or hopefully not a argument, but I love the world, I love Middle-earth, I love Tolkien. This book just didn't do it for me. We can agree to disagree, or we can just agree. Let me know in the comments down below. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!